This is Paul. This is the Rent Supply Podcast. Thank you for listening. I am going to just bring up a couple things that exist right now, that are technologies that are actually out there that people do not know about, on the main anyway. A few things that just to chatter around people's thoughts, create some questions. So one thing, I think probably the most important thing, is the electromagnetic sound wave dealio thingy. So whatever it's actually called, I haven't got the first idea, but it is a piece of equipment, piece of technology that has been proven to exist, has been proven actually effective in battle. The U.S. military has used it to send voices directly into the skulls of our enemy, telling them to lay down their weapons and saying, "This is Allah." This is fact. This is documented. This is provable. This is not horse shit. That is something that is not even, as far as I understand, terribly expensive. It seems, I watched an interview with a gentleman who creates this technology, and he was saying something along the lines of, this technology can be purchased for a mere $70,000 for a unit that would affect one person. Well, $70,000 is not, I mean, that's chicken scratch in the military world, in the intelligence world. So there's one thing. Now, flip that over, and there was a young lady who had a YouTube video about this. I do not know her name offhand. For that, I'm terribly sorry, but check it out. She just look into whatever, like, I don't know, something about truth, disclose truth, or some damn thing. I don't know. Redheaded woman with glasses. Has a cat, says he's beautiful. That's all I got. Anyway, but she had done a YouTube video about this that was really actually pretty in-depth, pretty informative. And on that video, you know, she had brought up about how many of these shooters in these horrific scenes that are, you know, that have controversy stewing around them, but whether or not they're false flags or this or that or whatever, talk about having heard voices leading up to this. So, I mean, I don't know, if I had a voice array, you know, what it does is it bypasses the eardrum, it bypasses the hammer and sickle, and I'm just kidding, that's some Russian stuff, but it bypasses the hammer and the stirrup and whatever the hell else is in the ear, and it's a direct electrical impulse that is received by, you know, within the skull as a voice. And it seems to be emanating from nowhere. There's no direction from it or anything like that. So if you hear this, what are you going to think? Well, you might think it's God, or you might think it's our friendly neighborhood intelligence or military people, which, man, it's terrible to think they would even do shit like that to people. But whatever, that is out there, that exists. Another thing that exists, and this is, I think, really, you're talking about peak technology. You're talking about something that could truly change the world, and could change the world in incredible ways, is the ability to 3D print structures and then inject spaces of stem cells into them so that you can grow bones. This is something that has actually been happening. And I would imagine bone is not the only human materials, biological materials being used. So organs, flesh, of course, you know, anything one would think is growable. I think that's fantastic. That's amazing. There are some things that people can do at home that are incredible. When you talk about you want to grow some plants, get some PVC tubing, get a low voltage, low draw pump to circulate water through this PVC tubing, throw some good soil in there, you can have racks and racks of plants at any given time. You can use, obviously, there's a lot of lighting that's available now, but it's not just about lighting. I mean, you can, for the cost of a roll of aluminum foil and being careful in putting it on, you can have reflective lighting. There are ways now to have your entire home set up as a frickin', you could be a gardener in your living room while, watching the Cosby Show, which, all right, perhaps a poor reference for right now. Okay, and then this is the last one that I'm going to bring up because I think it's a fantastic one, is personal EKG machines with digitized readouts. So these things are, you put it on your head and you can watch what areas of your brain are being affected and how they're being affected during certain activities. And that is an amazing thing, because then you can thereby see how you learn best, what you learn best, and fast track yourself. It is at that point when you have a map showing what is happening, you can guide your own evolution. I don't mean to sound like some kind of neo-hippie or anything like that, but this is something I firmly think is in the future of mankind, is our guiding our own evolution. Understanding how the brain works, understanding what is effective for you is a huge asset. It's a huge key into unlocking your potential. Because once you know what it is you pick up and put down at a very, heightened pace compared to other people, well, maybe that's your niche. Maybe that's what you should pursue. And if it's not, maybe you should find the ways to learn in the things that you would like to pursue. And you can watch how this happens. It's incredible. This is something that I can't wait until it goes mainstream. I'd like to build it myself, but I don't know that I have that level of technological prowess. But what else? Okay, I'm going to bring up a few things about, I'm going to say, okay, I realize this was supposed to be about just technologies, but I'm going to bring up James Comey. James Comey's book, Beneath the Integrity, or some shit like that, of the FBI. Yes, precisely, sir. Here's the thing. If you do not understand how you, as the leading law enforcement agent in the country, leaking materials sends a message of a broken system and sends a message of an untrustworthy elite within that system, including you yourself who had done it, if you don't understand how that calls into question your character, and then on top of that you decide that you're going to write this book that is petty and childish in a way that, I am serious, sir, you should find yourself a First Communion dress, wear that son of a bitch, because I've seen that is the last time I remember seeing anyone act that way, is at approximately that age. Because generally speaking, you realize that when you act overtly petty and childish and stupid and whiny, it does not play well. It does not work well with with anyone. It doesn't work well with the public in general. Not that I would be so much aware of what works well with the public. I mean, I throw my voice out there. I hope a couple of people catch it. If so, great. If not, hey, my bad. Whatever. But I don't pretend for a second that I'm doing this because I feel that I am particularly special in any way. I'm doing this because I feel that it is everyone's responsibility. If you see if you see a void surrounding a message that you think should be out there, fill the void. I mean, there are things that I think should be talked about. There are viewpoints on subjects like QAnon. QAnon posted a whole bunch of stuff today on the 16th of April, one post, I believe, was on the 15th yesterday, which is the official day of sodomy for the IRS. And I mean, not sodomy, seasonal something where they need some shit and whatever. Sorry, I have no respect for the IRS. I think I think the idea of a central bank is a con that has gone on long enough, far more than long enough in this nation and in every nation that the fiat system exists. But anyway, I just want to bring up the whole James Comey thing. Whether, excuse me, if you hate Donald Trump, more power to you. God bless you. Hate him well. High fives all around. Cool enough. Doesn't matter. I can admit to the childish behavior and the stupid behavior that Donald Trump has been glaringly, obviously, incredibly guilty of in the past. And sometimes he still does the same things. But for those who are unwilling to note the lack of any potent message or any damaging statements in this book by James Comey, or somehow claim how this book, his integrity shows through. I'm sorry, it is his lack of integrity that is the glaringly obvious thing about this book. I don't mean anything mean about the man. I don't know the man clearly. And I don't really have any particular viewpoint other than what he has publicly done, what he has done that I have seen. And that has been, not telling Donald Trump that the dossier was funded by those who the dossier was funded by. If you don't believe, if some part of you does not believe, deep down in your core, in your essence, in your deepest sections of God-fulfilled humanity, that he had some obligation to tell a legally elected president that it was his political opponents in the prior election who funded this opposition research, which launched this constitutionally questionable at best investigation into himself, those who surround him. And this has been something known by and updated daily to the president in office at the time. Now, at this time, you're the elect. I don't understand, or I'm sorry, at that point, I guess, with Comey, he was already the president, the acting president, which is even worse, because my understanding is that even as he was acting president, the Abominator was still getting briefed on this. I'm not going to talk anything about that other than you would think that being at that level, working for that man in that capacity, and just simply having any type of regard for transparency would demand that you openly and honestly give that information forward to the president. But then again, we're also talking about a man who refuses to acknowledge at every turn the precept that exists in the United States government, in the United States law, of innocence until proof of guilt. This is a man who absolutely just vehemently refuses to treat anyone with that level of legally mandated regard. And he was the head of the FBI. Well, I suppose you get somebody who is at his core suspicious of everyone. Maybe that's a good person for the FBI. FBI, until he has no